My favorite camp battle that has emerged so far in this training camp has to be the slot receiver battle. And as you mentioned, Jamison Crowder, he's been dealing with some soreness since the first day of training camp. And that's kind of left the door open for some of these guys that I would say I initially had behind him on the roster. And Isaiah McKenzie, I've talked about in the offseason, they gave him a contract extension, but it wasn't, this huge deal, and kind of how limited he's been in the passing game since he's been on the team. He's kind of been this gadget guy, return guy, and I remember saying, if he wasn't able to solidify the return duties, I didn't see really a path to him making this roster. And with Crowder missing time, we've seen McKenzie get some more run, and it really looks like he's developing like this great chemistry with Josh Allen. And granted, he still kind of has his whole body of work in the NFL, where he's kind of been that gadget guy, return guy. But I think through part of the end of last year and through training camp thus far, I think we're really seeing him start emerging as a weapon in the passing game, and I do still believe that that's Crowder's spot to lose. But the more time that he misses and the more impact McKenzie's able to make, I don't think it's as cut and dry as like, Crowder, you're the starter. If you miss any time, McKenzie's your replacement. I think it opens up more of a conversation about, McKenzie was doing his thing. How do we make sure that he's getting his touches? Maybe it's kind of a split roles in the slot there. So interesting to watch how that's developing, and obviously we haven't really seen Crowder yet. But I feel like this is part of Josh starting to elevate the players around him, where McKenzie's kind of been buried on the depth chart behind guys like Cole Beasley. And we saw this early on with Josh where, he was kind of still on the beginning of his development, and they brought in veterans like Smoke, Cole Beasley. They brought in these guys to try to kind of help his development, and now Josh has gotten to this level in his career that you can bring up a guy like Isaiah McKenzie, and who knows, maybe even rookie Khalil Shakir, and Josh Allen can make those players better. And speaking of Khalil Shakir, also hearing a lot of buzz about him out of camp, 5th round rookie. He factors into that mix at the slot at the slot receiver position, and I think he's just being a draft pick, having some return abilities. I think he's a pretty strong candidate to be on the active roster, and this is again very similar to Isaiah McKenzie. With the more time Crowder misses, the more chances that these guys have to go out there and showcase what they have and get some extra reps with the ones that they probably wouldn't have gotten. Now, it sounds like Shakir's mostly running with the 2s right now, which isn't unexpected to me. McDermott really likes to make guys earn their spot on this roster, and nothing's handed over. But for me, if the reports keep coming about this development of Shakir and he makes it hard to ignore, I don't think it's likely that Crowder ends up on the outs. We did just bring him in, give him a contract. He's kind of a veteran presence in the locker room, but it's not like they went out and gave him, a 2-year, $20 million fully guaranteed contract. I believe it's like a 1-year, $2 million contract with like a signing bonus in there. So, I mean, if these two players are really able to shine throughout training camp, and Crowder's going to have some ground to make up in my eyes. So, I'm not calling for it to happen. I'm not saying it will. I'm not saying I want it to. But if these guys are able to keep coming in and day out and make significant impacts, it might end up being Crowder on the outside looking in. Like I said, with this roster and how much talent it has, how much depth it has, some of the young guys coming up. I mean, we're still not even talking about like a Marquez Stevenson, how he could factor into the mix. I just think that this team is going to put the best 53 out there. I think Bean knows that this is a very real chance at a Super Bowl year, and if he went out and made a signing and it cost him $2 million and he thinks it was a mistake, I don't think he's going to be afraid to cut bait on that if the talent's too much there. Do feel like I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here and reading a little bit too much into this, because like I said, we haven't really seen Crowder, and he's somebody that I was very excited with the signing for. So hopefully he's back out there soon, and this competition that's already been my favorite just gets that much spicier.